Yo, YouTube. First of all, I want to say thank you to the 100 followers, subscribers. I get used to saying subscribers. 100 subscribers, y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I really appreciate every single one of you. I would love for y'all to tell me where y'all at in the comments, where y'all from in the comments. I will keep saying that, until I know, so I can, cater what I say to where you're at, because I like to be able to sound accurate as possible. I definitely want to be honest. I don't want to just say stuff for the sake of accuracy and it's not honest, and that's not what I truly feel. So I'll always be honest and transparent first, but then after that, accurate. And I think some situations don't apply to everyone, honestly, based off of where you're at. So that's one reason. And then another reason, I just want to be able to connect more personal with everybody. I know we're living in this digital world, and it's a one to many, 1 to 1,000, 1 to 10,000, 1 to a million type of engagement. So that'll definitely help. But thank you to everyone who been a subscriber since I first started this YouTube in 2003, all the way to, well, maybe 2002, yeah, 2002, all the way to the people who have just recently become subscribers. So thank you. But I want to ask y'all a question. I know we all have that feeling that you get stuck. Somebody may ask you something, or somebody may make you feel guilty about something they asked you, or something may happen all the time and you're used to it, and other people expect you to follow along because it's something that's usually happening, whether that's you bringing this type of thing to a family event. It's holidays right now. There's a lot of expectations for everyone to bring gifts. There's a lot of expectations for people to show up to parties. There's a lot of expectation for people to be able to maybe be in a place that they're not really in because they're just not in that place. Whether you have to be happy and where you have to feel like you're just loving, and it's like you might not be there. Just because it's Christmas doesn't mean that you feel like giving. You might not be in that place emotionally, mentally, or physically, and there's some expectation that's come along with that. So if you are feeling like that, then this video is here for you today. So let's get into it. Y'all see the title, you already know what it is. That right there is important. And I want to break it down into three different, not rules, but three different ways to look at the power of setting boundaries. Setting boundaries to build a better you. Set boundaries to build a better you. Going into 2025, being able to set boundaries. Okay, so first part I want to talk about is why people are afraid to set boundaries. So I remember when I was young, and maybe you can relate, maybe you can't. And I will always want to say, I will speak from a place of experience. So you may hear me say things like male, because I am a man. You may hear me say things like black, because, my great-grandfather is white, but I was raised around a lot of just black energy. So certain things black people go through. I always would say poverty too, because you can still go through the same things as black people, and white people can go through the same things. It's just a poverty thing. It's a ghetto thing. It's a, poverty thing, a poor people thing. So a lot of those things I relate to too. But yes, I remember growing up and being so afraid to ask my parents for things, and to be able to feel like I would just break my parents' heart or just do something that was wrong and disappoint them, and I didn't feel confident enough. And that led me to not want to set boundaries for myself and my parents, primarily because the fear that was put in me at a young age to not ask questions. And I know that was like that for me because my mom was like that, because my mom was way better than my grandma. Like, I love her, God rest her soul, but it's just something that she grew up with. It's just something that's passed along, like where a little kid, a poverty-stricken kid, a ghetto kid, a black kid really can't voice their opinion to their parents as much, or say how they feel without feeling like you're crossing their disrespect line. And that puts fear inside of you as a child that grows for a long time, because it's this whole, if you fear me, you respect me. If you don't respect me, then you don't fear me type of philosophy and ideology. And I think a lot of times when you're young, that translates to not setting up levels of confidence and courage in areas where you should, like setting up boundaries with people, with your parents. I believe that kids still should have boundaries with their parents, even being able to voice themselves, not in a disrespectful manner, but being able to voice themselves to their parents and ask them parents questions about why their life is the way it is. Like, Mom, why are we poor? Mom, why don't we have these things? And not just the parents giving them a reason behind it because it's just a quick reply, or it's a reply where you feel like you don't have the answer that you want to tell your child. Like, why do we have to live here? Why don't we live there? And not just the reason of it's being like, well, there's kids who have less fortunate things in the world, so you should be grateful for what you have. Of course, there's people who are fucking poor all over the world, but just because they're poor doesn't mean we have to be poor, or just because they're living a certain lifestyle doesn't mean that we have to be super grateful for ours. We should be grateful regardless, but it's not like trying to put up one side of the world just so your side cannot seem as bad as it is. And so I think a lot of the things that make people not want to have boundaries with people as they get older is because the fear that was instilled in you as a child. The things that you face as a kid set the tone for the person that you will be later on. Unless you become more self-aware over time, you actually become self-aware to the point to where you're consciously and actively wanting to do something about shaping who you are, whether that's going in the wrong direction just to find yourself, which is what I did for a lot of my life. A lot of what my life was predetermined. I heard a lot of people for my experiments that I went through, but it was for the journey of finding my own voice, finding who I was, finding my tone, finding my paradigm and my ideology and my perspective and my narrative. So I think that's the one thing you have to realize is that why are you afraid to set these boundaries? And I think once you sit back and you find the root cause of why you're afraid to set boundaries up with people and say, you know what, this stops here. I won't do this and I won't feel bad about not doing this, or this is as far as this goes and you're going to have to be okay with knowing I don't have to go farther with you, or this step, or no, this isn't something that makes me feel like I don't feel respected or I don't feel listened to. And that can even go all the way back to kids. Kids should be able to express to their parents like, okay, I know you're adult, you know more than me, but I don't feel listened to in this moment. I might not be right, but just know I don't feel listened to. So I think that's the first thing about being able to set boundaries for your better self, for a better you, by being able to see why you're afraid to set boundaries in the first place. Where is this block coming from? And I think most can relate that the boundaries or the lack of setting boundaries comes from when you were a kid and you were afraid to voice yourself, when you were afraid to say your opinion to older people. Because when you're a kid talking to kid, you bully each other, but kids will say anything to the kids. But as soon as they get to adults, it's like a brick wall. So I think a lot of that just, and then some people just go on the polar opposite where they just didn't have a voice at all, and then they become adults and just start wilding the fuck out and just not respecting anything. And I'm not saying we need to do that, but I think there's a healthy balance or a healthy transition between finding out how you was as a child and maybe the lack of communication you was able to have and express yourself when it came to just things that you didn't like or didn't feel good about, or boundaries that you should have been able to set, or standards that you should have been able to set as a little adult. And then later on, when you got older, you just didn't set these same standards or rules with people when you should have. And now you feel like you're getting walked over. Now you feel like you're getting walked over. You feel like people are taking advantage of you. You feel like you're not being heard because you're not setting up these boundaries. And these boundaries that you're not setting up is probably because you were afraid as a child to voice yourself. And now you don't have that confidence because you didn't take the time to build it up to now when you're in these places where you want to tell family members, no, I don't want to come to this function. No, I can't go out tonight, girl. No, I can't go out tonight, bro. I'm focusing on becoming better. I'm focusing on getting a better life. You're not setting these boundaries up in relationships. No, I don't want to have this conversation. No. You're not doing these things because the root cause. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, once you figure out why you're not setting these boundaries up, then you have to realize the real reason for why you need to set boundaries up in your life. Because I think if we don't know why we're doing something, a lot of times we won't stick to it. You know, it'll sound good in the beginning. They'd be like, oh man, losing weight sounds cool. They're losing weight, or getting a new job sounds cool. They look like they got more money, and because it's not a self experience. You can't relate to it on an emotional level, so it doesn't hit you the same because it's not. You don't feel it from the inside, and then the reasoning behind why you should feel it, you don't even know. So you're not on the path to understanding why you're going where you're going and the reason and the intent behind what you're doing. So I think the second thing is just realizing like why setting boundaries is important, why being able to set boundaries is important for you. But I think you have to understand what the reward is. To really see why something is important, you have to say like, okay, if I do this, then what is the trade-off? What will I get? If I set this boundary up with this person, then that equals this. This plus this equals that. And you have to be able to really focus on why it is important to you. Because if not, you might do it once, you maybe do it twice, you might do it twice, but most likely you're not going to do it a third time, and then you're going to be right back in the vicious cycle of you finding yourself having to explain yourself to people, having to feel like you're obligated. And then what this does, this leads to resentment, y'all. You not setting boundaries up with people leads to resentment. That's why setting boundaries up is important, because if you don't, it leads to resentment towards those that are around you, because you feel like you're doing things, but you're not doing it from a place of you really wanting to do it with your authentic self. And in reality, you shouldn't be mad at them. You shouldn't be mad at all. You should just be really affirmative on your action and saying, you know what, I'm going to set these boundaries up. And if I don't set boundaries up, people are going to do what they want to do anyway, which is probably walk over me and take advantage of me. So it's not like the blame game of whose fault it is. So that's the thing. You have to be able to see the reason behind why, and then understand the reward for the reason behind why. Why am I doing this? Okay, I'm doing this because of this, and this thing is the reward. So when you find the reward of why you're setting your boundaries up, it makes it so much easier to do it, because you're just like, you know what? My reward is being happy. And I'm not going to let you fucking stop my happiness. I figured out what my happiness is. I have a list of the things that I determined to make myself happy. And you doing what you doing is not fucking included in that. So I need to be able to set these boundaries up so I can get my reward. Because you're going to do what you want to do regardless. Because obviously I've seen you been doing what you want to do regardless. And it doesn't matter that what I want is what I'm trying to get. You're still going to be who you're going to be. These are the type of conversations that you have to have, first of all, with yourself and then with other people. So you can use something else that's a reward. You know what? I actually want to be financially free, and being with you and not talking and having these conversations about finances in our relationship is not helping me get to that place. So we need to either sit down and have a real conversation about our finances. You know, if you're a guy, you with your spouse. If you're a girl, you with your spouse or your partner. And you say, we need to figure this out, or I have to do my thing and you have to do your own thing, because me allowing myself to have these boundaries is what is going to lead me to this reward. Boom. This is why, and the why is this reward, and this is why this is important to me. So I think that's the second thing. Y'all have to fall in love with the reason behind why you need to set boundaries and the reward of setting your boundaries. It might be something as simple as your peace. Peace sounds like such a big, crazy thing, y'all. I swear it is. But once we realize we control our peace, then you realize peace is really simple. It's like, oh, peace is in my mind, and if I learn to be peaceful within, then everything else really can't faze me. And if everything else does faze me, it phases me because I'm not peaceful from within. Anytime I get to getting jittery, like, I just turned 38 2 months ago, and I still fucking bite my nails. And it's genetics, because my kids do it. I just see my mom does it. I mean, my dad does it. It's genetics. And I still bite my nails. But I find myself, when I'm getting to the point where I'm not feeling peaceful, I'm getting nervous, or I'm biting my nails, I'm not doing my slow breathing, I'm not doing my breath work, and I'm taking breaths in, inhale, exhale, slow counting. Then I start realizing, like, I'm doing this. I'm the one that's not being peaceful. It's nobody else's fault. And then if somebody else is not, bringing peace towards me, then I'm allowing them to be in my life and disrupt my peace. It's not their fault. And at the end of the day, the accountability comes back to me. So even if it's something that's being peaceful, you can say, you know what? I need to set boundaries, because being around you, and especially if you already explained this to people, who you are, where you want to be, what's important to you. If they're not catching up, or if they're not getting with the program, and the program is going to keep programming regardless, then you have to be able to say, I've talked to you about this. We've had this conversation. I need to set these boundaries up with you, because You know what I'm on. I obviously know what type of person that you are and what you're on right now, and you might not be aligned with what I am. This is what our boundaries need to be, and feel good about that. But feel good about it because you know what the reward is and you know why you're doing it after you understood why you weren't doing it in the first place. So that is the second thing. Figure out why you're not setting boundaries in the first place. Figure out the root cause. Like I said, most likely it might be derived from something that happened in childhood, fear of being able to express yourself. But then second thing, understand why you need to set the boundaries. Understand why you're not setting boundaries. Understand why you need to set the boundaries, and then the reward for setting the boundaries. And then the last thing with the boundaries is understanding that the true boundaries is it's about to be this. This is like the sweet part of it, y'all. And I was telling myself this. You need to understand how much of your no dollars and your yes dollars you're spending. All right? Your no dollars and your yes dollars. And you need to figure out which one of those you want more of to be spent on certain things and which one of those you want to be able to save. So no dollars and yes dollars for wherever currency you're in, the currency you in, no euros, no yuan, yens and yuans, and yes yuans and yens, and yes euros, wherever you are, yes pesos, and no pesos, wherever you are in the world, whatever currency you use. We're in America, so we're going to do dollars. But yes dollars and no dollars is you have to take account for all the things that you say yes to and all the things that you say no to. Because a lot of times we're saying yes to the things that we should be saying no to, and we're saying no to the things that we should be saying yes to. But once we understand what we want and why we want what we want, then our yeses and our nos should align with that. And it should line accordingly with what our desires and our goals are. And if you are on the path of self-development, personal development, one second, y'all, remember to like, subscribe, and share. Sharing is caring if you're caring is sharing. But like I was saying, what made me think about this, because this is what my channel is for people who want to understand the relationship between personal development and self-help and becoming richer and wealthier and becoming rich in spirit and rich in happiness and rich in clarity. And that translates to dinero and money, and it translates to assets and options. So if you are a person who is on that path to understanding personal development and you want to live a better life, then the things that you want and the things that you want to have and your desires and your alignment is in accordance to those things or that philosophy of personal development, of self-help, or of a better life. So when you find the yeses and the nos that flow accordingly to wanting to have a life that's aligned with having a better life from the inside out, then you will know what to say yes to and what to say no to. And those boundaries will kind of be the levers that you pull. You'll understand like, oh, nope, this doesn't align with the better life that I want. This doesn't align with where I want to go. This doesn't align with my personal development. This doesn't align with my self-care. This doesn't align with my growth. So I will spend one of my no dollars for this. Oh, yep, this aligns with my personal development, reading books, connecting and networking with people who are better, being able to have time by myself, being able to say, you know what, fuck my job for one day. I'm going to take some PTO if I got it. I'm going to just request a day off, and I'm going to just spend all day relaxing, cleaning up my house and laying down and watching a couple shows. It's okay to fucking do that. If you're in a place to where you're on a path to grinding and getting money and all of this stuff, you still need to do that. I don't believe in the word grind, because when you grind stuff down, you grind it down to when it's nothing and it turns to dust. So I just believe in consciously applying effort and going within the flow of things in life and just being good with fucking numbers and time. If you do those things, you don't have to worry about the word grind. But being able to say that aligns with what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to spend $1, one of my yes dollars towards that. And I'm going to say a yes to that. I'm going to say a no to this. I'm going to say a yes to this. I'm going to say a no. And then once you start doing that, you're pulling these levers and you're just going along, y'all. You're just going along. And eventually you'll realize the boundaries will build themselves off the building blocks of the yeses and the nos that you have. You will build the boundaries that will actually be bridges. People think boundaries are building blocks for walls, when boundaries are really just a bridge to the life that you want to have. For the right people, the boundaries are the building blocks to the bridge that you want to have, to the place that you want to go. And for the wrong people, the boundaries are the walls that you put up, and it puts you and it traps you and builds a prison. So bricks can build a fortress or it can build a prison. It is up to you. That's the thing. You have to realize that. Bricks can build a fortune or they can build a prison. You and your intention is the only difference between a fortress and a prison. Your intention is the only difference between a fortune and a prison. I like how that sounds. So yeah, I got on my, oh yeah, go follow too, man. Words by Waters on Instagram, Words by Waters on IG. I got a quote book. I know y'all told y'all the money is an art. It's a philosophy slash quote book. It's 100 philosophies, money philosophies that I come up with that have helped me become, make over 6 figures a year. And still, I'm not doing it from my own system. I'm doing it from somebody else's system, but I'm still doing it, y'all. And get numerous $10,000 checks several times. But that book has really helped me have the philosophy. And it's quotes, and on my Words by Waters Instagram, it's nothing but quotes and different philosophies I come up with. So check that out. But jbwaters.com, Arthur website will be up soon. I'm going to have a page strictly with all of my quotes just to be able to keep intact my intellectual property. But yes, the bricks can either build a fortress or a prison, and your intention is the difference between the two. So that's really important, y'all. So going back to what I said, just to finish it out, I just wanted to hop on here real quick and tell y'all thank you for the 100 subscribers, whether it's 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million. It's all the same to me. It's all love. It's all gratitude. Truly thankful and truly grateful. But just remember, first of all, work on why you don't have the power or you're not setting up boundaries with anybody. I don't care if it's your husband or your wife or your spouse, your partner, whatever it is. I don't care if it's what your partner is, your friend, it's your mama. You had this ideology within your head since you was a child to never tell your mama no, and never tell your mama what you truly feel. I'm not nobody to tell you how you need to run your relationships with your parents or with your spouse, but I think your life is more important and your happiness as well-being is more important. It's one thing I say, another one of my quotes is that nothing and no one is worth stressing yourself to death because you can't do anything or help anyone from a fucking grave. No one is worth stressing over to the point to where you're dead because you can't do shit from a grave. So when you're dead, they still gonna be living, kicking and living their life all lolly jolly or acting confused and toxic or whatever they are. And where you gonna be at? 6 feet fucking under or some ashes in an urn or somewhere. And you ain't gonna be able to do nothing for them anyway. So I'm not trying to tell nobody how to raise their life, raise their family, or how to run a relationship, or how to run a, relationship with their mother, their father, their siblings, or their family members. But your life is the most important life. You are the most important person in your life. And that's the thing I tell my kids. I tell myself that every day. I'm the most important person in my life. And I can genuinely say that from a good heart because I know I was born to serve people, to come on. Look at the content I'm making, y'all. I'm so grateful for all of my 100 subscribers, but I haven't got to 100,000 yet, 1,000,000. And I guarantee you people are searching and going to this entertainment stuff a lot quicker. And I'm not knocking no YouTubers. If you're doing what you do and it's making it make it do what it do, somebody gonna watch it, whatever you got. But this is to service to others. So I believe that I can say to myself, you know what, I'm the most important person in my life. And you should be able to say that, especially if you know you're taking care of yourself in a healthy manner. So I say, figure out what's going on and why you're feeling like you can't set up boundaries. Then second thing, figure out why setting up boundaries is important. And then the reward that comes with setting up boundaries. And then lastly, understand the power between saying no and saying yes to the right things and no to the wrong things, and being able to utilize your no dollars and your yes dollars properly in the form that they align with the person that you want to become and the person that you are and the person that you want to be and the person that you want to grow and stay forever and be ever evolving and ever expanding like the universe. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. We're almost on 25 minutes. So y'all know me. I be trying to come in and out, bang it out real quick. But much love. Thank y'all again. Thank you again, y'all. Y'all remember, man, tap that like button. Tap that notification bell. Trying to get to the point to where I make a video every other day. But y'all got to bear with me. I'm raising 2 kids by myself. So definitely. And my little boy, my little papito just got over pneumonia. So I was dealing with that. That's why y'all didn't see me for a while because I went to the ER 3 times in 1 week. Well, went to the urgent care twice and then the ER went. So I went to the doctor 3 times in 1 week. But thank y'all for y'all love, y'all support. Remember to stay well, be conscious, and write your world to existence. Waters.